guys, and welcome back to Hilltop Farm. I'm Jay, and welcome to the very first lesson in Wicca. Now, those of you that perhaps don't know what this course is about, if you go to my last video on Wicca, which is the introduction to Wicca, I'll put the link in the description down below. Go and watch that first, and then come back and watch this one. Lesson will commence. In the first lesson, I'm going to be talking to you about walking the Wiccan path and what it means to walk the Wiccan path. Before I start, I will also just say that I have not done this before. I am just trying to give you the benefit of my knowledge, and I have gone to quite a bit of work to prepare the lessons that we're going to present on this channel. Obviously a lot of it, I've written it down, and I'm going to be reading, so I'm not going to spend like the whole video just reading to you, but you have to bear with me because I have to keep looking at my notes and reading. So that being said, off we go. Wicca, it's a path of growth and expansion. It is not primarily about magic, although it does use it. Wicca is about moving forward in your own personal and spiritual journey and learning to grow and be the most that you can be. Wicca is based on nature and her cycles, respect for the earth and her creatures. Wicca believes that deity comes to each person in a way that is best understood by that person, and that it's different for different people. It's highly individual, personal and subjective. Not everyone will have the same understanding because not everyone is in the same place or able to understand at the same level. Therefore, no one has the right to judge because each person is different and each person is on a different path. Now, just on a side note, if there's any terminology that you do not understand, obviously you can Google it, you might find it there, but if you're still not quite sure, leave a comment in the comments below or email me. The email address for people taking the Wiccan lesson is also going to be in the comments below. The reason I say that, there's wind howling around this cottage here at the moment, so bear with us with the noise. Now, just for those of you that don't know, deity is a term that's used really to mean God or gods or an all-being supreme power, if you like. The most common way Wiccans approach deity is in the form of the triple goddess. Her three forms are maiden, mother and crone, and her symbol is the moon. Maiden represents anything that is new, young, just developing. The mother is anything that's reached full maturity and is in her prime, you might say. The crone is something that's in its final years. Her symbol in Wicca is the moon. We use the moon to represent the goddess. Her consort, which is the god, who rules the solar year, is referred to as Lord of the Dance. He is symbolized, obviously, by the sun. As a result, we have complementary and opposing powers, like in many Eastern cultures that have yin and yang. Wicca has a strong moral base. By moral, we mean by treating each other in an honourable and loving manner. Wicca has only one law that all traditions agree on. That law we call the Wiccan Rede. The Wiccan Rede, I've got it here in a frame that we have hanging in our home all the time. You probably can't read that on here. But it goes, the Wiccan Rede. Bide the Wiccan law ye must, in perfect love and perfect trust. 8 words the Wiccan Rede fulfill, and ye harm none, do what ye will. What ye send forth comes back to thee, so ever mind the rule of 3. Follow this with mind and heart, merry ye meet, and merry ye part. What that means in a nutshell is, and not regarding any laws that abide to any particular state or country in the world, that's something completely different. You are basically free to do whatever you like in the Wiccan faith, with one proviso, and that is it harms no one else, whether physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, on any plane. You must not harm another person. And as a Wiccan, you will be expected to constantly be asking yourself, before you say something, before you do something, am I harming anyone? And if you are, you're acting wrongly. And you will find that you will question yourself very quickly without thinking. It just becomes second nature. Wiccan is a pagan religion. The word pagan means country dweller. The religion has built up over millennia through people's observations and experiences. Pagan religion reveres natural forces and cycle of life. Wicca is unrelated to the book religions like Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and Satanism. These book religions have a totally separate origin to pagan religions. Christians use the word pagan to refer to everyone else who are not Christian. This, of course, is untrue. Only a tiny minority of non-Christians are pagan. In much the same way, Christians use the word pagan to refer to everyone else who is not Christians, in much the same way as in Judaism, where they refer to everyone else as Gentile. This, of course, in both cases is quite untrue. Only a tiny minority of non-Christians and non-Jews are pagan. A pagan is a follower of one of the many nature and fertility religions which exists or have existed worldwide. Witches worship the same god as everyone else. However, they tend to just subdivide this one god into a number of specific gods and goddesses. This can be likened to a diamond with its many facets, but all are on the same stone. Witchcraft is one of many pagan religions. The term Wiccan or witch are interchangeable, and Wicca refers to the practice of a witchcraft-based system. The followers of Wicca, both male and female, are called witches. A warlock is not a male witch. A warlock is an oath-breaker and has its origins in Christianity and is meant as an insult to a non-believer. Our ancestors were in touch with the cycles of the earth and the seasons. Part of their brains had developed an almost sixth sense, an instinct if you prefer, to be at one with nature. This course will teach you to gradually awaken this primitive and very powerful part of your brain. We will do this through ritual, through meditation, through seasonal celebrations, through dance and music, and a multitude of other ways. When experienced witches want to get something done, he or she sees the thing complete and finished in their minds, and so it is. Nothing is too big or too small. In this course, we are not going to cut any corners. We are going to teach you properly so that you can enjoy the results and be able to not only do your own rituals and spells, but also to write them. During the next 12 months, you will learn to perform rituals with all the wands, ritual swords, incense, coloured candles, and all the paraphernalia that's necessary to persuade the old brain to do the magic for you. You will start to see changes in your life from the time you perform your very first craft ritual. Just let yourself progress at your own pace, and through this primitive power you really can have everything you want in life. Some students ask if this primitive power is dangerous, in that more modern religions call it evil. I say no, it is no more evil and dangerous than electricity. If handled without proper training, it could be very dangerous. Through this course, you will receive the proper training. When you have mastered the lesson, you will no more wish to live without the power than you would wish to live without electricity. There are many different types of pagan living around the world. In the Southern Hemisphere, Indigenous Australians, Indigenous South Americans, and a handful of African tribes still follow their traditions. In the Northern Hemisphere, Native Americans continue to follow their traditional shamanistic religion, while other countries, such as Russia, also have a strong pagan tradition. There has also been much interest in the way of the shaman by Western followers worldwide. And of course, there is currently a strong revival in the Druid tradition. The Druids were originally the priesthood of the Celtic people. They follow the same seasonal ritual calendar that we do. We Wiccans, I should say, do. They know much of earth and natural magic, and their trees are of special interest to them. The other main pagan tradition practiced in modern society is, you guessed it, Wicca. Also known as witchcraft or the old religion. The word Wicca is in fact the Old English word for witchcraft. It is thought that Wicca grew from Druidism 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, and originally the Anglo-Saxon word for witch. Wicca and Druidism appear to have existed side by side for centuries. They are both considered oral rather than written traditions, and that the two traditions are very similar. Oral tradition is one that doesn't have a book like a Bible or Quran or anything like that. Wicca is knowledge passed from person to person, plus each individual's own experiences and observations, and they keep, well, most witches keep a journal, and that follows their journey through or along their path. But they also keep a book of shadows, which is less of a journal. We were discussing it last night actually around the table, and trying to discuss how to describe what a book of shadows was. And my wife came up with the best way of describing it. It's a personal reference book, really. Your journal is for following your path, your Wiccan path. And that's where you write everything that you do, and the failings, and you might keep track of the weather, keep track of the harvests, keep track of hatch rates in your chickens or anything like that. You put it all in there. But your Book of Shadows is for concrete things, spells that you've done that you know have worked, recipes that have a magical basis that you've done that you know have worked. It could have been a ritual that you particularly enjoyed. I mean, we will get into this. We have there are different festivals we have throughout the year, and there are basic guidelines to tell you how to celebrate those. But you make it you make it your own tradition. It's a bit like Christmas. Everyone, I say everyone, Christians and a lot of non-Christians, of course, celebrate Christmas, but each household does it differently. They're celebrating Christmas, but they will have a different way of doing it, different little traditions they follow. And the same thing will happen with our festivals. So each year might be slightly different, and you might discover that one year you do something that is really good, everyone has a great time, really fantastic. So you might want to document that in your Book of Shadows so that you can go back to it and try and reproduce it. And I think that's what a Book of Shadows is to us here, to me. And that's what I'm going to be teaching you to do. And as I say, your journal is quite a separate thing. And I encourage you to start a journal as of today. It's the beginning of the Wiccan year, and this presumably is going to be your first day walking the Wiccan path. Witchcraft taught in this course is predominantly traditional Wicca. It is based on the southern hemisphere, but can easily be adapted to the northern hemisphere. The only difference between the north and the south is really the dates, because the seasons are opposed to each other. So if it's a festival, for example, that you have, because it's a harvest festival, that might be, towards the end of summer, then obviously that's going to be 6 months difference between one hemisphere and the other. So as we go along and we're hitting those things that do make a difference with the north and south, I will point that out. We will be learning the south, and that's what we'll be doing, but I will be pointing out that people in the north will be on the opposite side of the scale. Alright? But after we've done the full 12-month course, because I recommend that all students follow how I'm doing it in the south so that we can all be on the same page. And then when the 12 months is up and final exams have been done and you've qualified, then you will switch it round so that you are running on to coincide with the north, not the south. Alright, so I recommend personally, so to keep it all uniform, follow the south. And as far as possible, we teach the old ways. But with one big difference, that is the attitude towards the sexes. Some paths put the female principle above the male. We treat them both as entirely equal in all ways. Different, of course, but equal. This also means that the god is equal to the goddess. A path of Wicca is designed for both individuals and for groups. Basically, we are free thinkers. We do not believe that our way is the only way. We accept that the world and life is far too complex. However, all paths, no matter what the path, leads to the centre. Wiccans worship nature first and foremost. Nature is personified as Mother Earth and Father Sky. Individuals or groups will often choose a goddess or god from any of the world's Parthenons whose stories are particularly inspiring, and use those deities as a focus for personal devotion. What that means is, and there's no explanation as to how or why or anything like that, you will find that there are certain gods that you are drawn to. You might be drawn to the Egyptian goddess Isis. You might be drawn to Apollo, Zeus, Aphrodite. Who knows? And you can't explain why. You just feel more of a closeness, more of a bond. It's those. When that happens, you will find that is helping you to shape your path and to guide you on what path to take. And it will become obvious in time as to why. I'm drawn to ancient Egyptian mythology, and I don't know why, I just am. I happen to know that my daughter is drawn to Greek mythology. My wife is drawn to Celtic mythology and Druidism, and my mother is drawn to Roman mythology. So everyone's different, and everyone's path, draws them this way and that. But it's the diversity that makes the world whole, isn't it? Wiccans are either what we call solitary practitioners, or they practitioners that work in a coven. Most you'll find are solitary, because it's not easy to find a coven unless you've got a friend or a group of friends that are like-minded, or you're fortunate enough, like me, to live in a family of witches. We have ancestors that we have traced in our family tree that are actually Romany gypsies, which I think is where our yearning and our desire to follow the old ways perhaps comes from. I don't know. But we don't consider ourselves a coven as such, although we obviously are, because we do work together. But we also work as solitary as well, because a lot of it's a personal journey, not just as a group. But there's nothing wrong with being a solitary practitioner. Never feel you're alone, because there are millions of Wiccans out there. Alright? And that's the whole purpose of our little group here. And I'll go on about that more later. But once you join this group, particularly when you join it through our Patreon page, you will be around other like-minded people that you can compare notes with and talk to. But I'll talk more about that later. Wiccans use psychic energy, whose natural but invisible forces surround all living things. Now that's a scientific fact. You can't say it's hocus pocus. There is an electrical energy that surrounds everything. Scientists can measure it. They can prove it. Now we encourage students to spell the word magic with a letter K on the end. It helps distinguish our magic from what we call stage magic or sleight of hand magic, where the magician saws the person in half or pulls a rabbit out of a hat or that kind of thing. That is sleight of hand magic. Stage magic is when you go into the wonderful world of Harry Potter or Bewitched or something like that, or Charmed, or that's Hollywood magic. It's wonderful. It's fantastic entertainment, but it's fantasy. It's not real. This is real, and you have to learn to separate in your mind between fantasy and reality, because people often feel silly even contemplating Wicca, because they think, oh, everyone's going to look at me and think that, you know, I'm Samantha from Bewitched, or I'm a Hogwarts wannabe. And that's not the case. I mean, you might be a Hogwarts wannabe. I mean, I'd love to go to Hogwarts. I think that would be fabulous. But it doesn't exist. This is reality. Okay, Wiccans employ such means as dance, chant, creative visualization, and hypnosis to focus and direct psychic energy for the purpose of healing, protecting, and aiding people in their general endeavours. Many, but not all, Wiccans believe in reincarnation. That's all I'm going to say on reincarnation. We will cover it in a lesson later on. Witches have a handwritten collection of rituals and lore known as a Book of Shadows. This we will be teaching you over the next 12 months how to keep, but it is a book that will never be complete. Over the years, you will add to it with new material, and it will never be complete. Like all religions, witchcraft will only be understood through knowledge. You should worship your faith daily. It should be so much a part of you that without it you are merely a shell or exist as oxygen. This does not mean you have to constantly immerse yourself in ritual. Daily use of the craft opens your heart up to the experiences of the moment. For example, being nice to people because everyone is a child of the goddess. While driving, learn not to be so warlike and aggressive. A simple smile to someone you do not know, or a polite hello, is another form of being connected spiritually to the goddess and with her children. Allowing people to live their life their own way without judgment. Judgment is a real problem in modern day life. We're put under such pressure by what we see in magazines and on TV and in movies that we expect life to be a certain way, and we judge people that don't perhaps conform to the way we think it should be. Let them live their life and you live yours, and don't worry about what they're doing. If it's not harming you, move on. Your faith can give you strength, hope and love, responsibility and joy. It will force you to look at life with a smile. If you see each downtime as an opportunity to learn, then that time will seem less severe, and you should always find something to laugh about every day. Aside from the lunar and solar rituals, apart from the herbs and crystals from the mother, apart from the rich symbols in the ritual and spell, apart from all these things, the witch must sort out his or her life involvement and need to accept the lessons as they are experienced. We are here for a purpose, and that purpose is to learn. And if that education requires we throw out some preconceived thoughts and notions, then so be it. Witchcraft is a path of questioning. Not all information is available through reading a book or learning on the internet. It is true that much can be learnt this way, but ultimately the witch must wait until the experience is gained to learn a true lesson. So in witchcraft, we encourage you to research and learn what you can, but the trick is, after that, you need time to reflect and absorb, and in doing so, get to know yourself and nature. As a Wiccan, you will be a practitioner of a religion far older than any other organised faith better known today. The god and goddess have been a focus of celebrations and life for tens of thousands of years. We recognise the joy of living and the cycles of our life. We take pleasure in the aspects of the lunar cycle, and you'll learn what that is when we get to it. We walk the path seeking knowledge through the light and love of the god and goddess. It fills us with joy to know that many other witches are working together towards a more peaceful world. A world of harmony where children are loved, life is precious, and joy is the order of the day. In taking these lessons, you must understand that you are not just learning some interesting things about magic and witchcraft. You are undertaking a spiritual journey. If you apply the things that you are taught and persevere in your studies, it will change you on the deepest levels. You will learn about parts of yourself you may never knew existed. You may master psychic skills you've only read about or seen in movies, and learn how to use magic to take control of your very destiny. You will develop strengths as you do not know that you have. You will in time face your deepest fears and vanquish them. Wicca is a path of transformation and growth that will challenge you to lead you to a renewed and enriched existence. Wicca is about learning to make your own choices, and the Wiccan pathways exist to provide the framework to learn and grow. Wicca seeks to open your thinking and not to limit it. To be a Wiccan is to honour nature and all that is her, to acknowledge the life in all things and to be in harmony with it. To be a Wiccan is to work with the seen and the unseen, to learn the magical secrets of stones, of plants, of animals, to speak to the spirits and hear their replies. To be a Wiccan is to use every tool to grow, to learn, and become the best you can be. To use magic, meditation, and ritual to overcome all limitations, all fears, and all imperfections, and to always move in harmony with the god and the goddess. Always for the good, and always in accordance with your higher self. This is what it is to be a Wiccan. If knowing these things, you still want to be a Wiccan, these lessons will help you make a good beginning. Just learning to be a Wiccan is a bit like flying an aeroplane. You don't just jump in and hope for the best. You have to start with the basics and learn some of the more mundane aspects first. To many of you, this will sound like a very exciting path to take. And it is. But you can't run until you can walk. Now, we have homework. You have an assignment. In the description down below for this lesson, I will be putting a link. Now, the link is to a handout, which is one of these that you can download and keep on your computer. You can print it out if you want. It's just a PDF file. That covers everything I've covered in this lesson, and you will notice at the very bottom paragraph down here is your homework. So you'll find that in the link below. Now under that link there'll be a link to another file, which is, I don't know if you can see it, is that. It's the same thing I've got here. It is a copy of the Wiccan Read, which is our #1 law. You can print that out. It's a nice little decorative thing that you can hang on your wall. You can put it in your book of shadows, because this is one thing that will never change. So that will be in the link down below. As I said, there will also be in the link down below, in the description down below, there'll also be a link to the introduction to Wicca, which was the video we did last week, which was the lead up to this one. Also down below, I'm going to put a link to the book depository. Now, we are affiliates with the book depository. They are a company that's in the UK that does free shipping worldwide of their books, and so any books you need to get, whether they be Wiccan books or just any books at all, if you click on that link and go into the book depository website through that link, then it will register us as the affiliate, and you'll be helping our channel out, because we'll get a few dollars from whatever you spend, and it just helps with producing all this. So don't forget to download and print out your copy of this. I suggest you get a ring binder. There will be roughly 50 of these by the time the course is finished, and so you'll be able to have a folder that's just got all your lessons in it and homework and that kind of thing. Once the 12 months lessons are up, we're going to be doing videos on a weekly basis to cover more specific things. It could be a magical recipe of some description. We might be doing something on crystals or candle magic or who knows what. But every week there will be a Wiccan video, and again it will have one of these to come with it. So start collecting them and start collecting binders to put it all in. Also in the description below will be a link to, well, not a link, will be the email address that is for the Wiccan stuff only. As you'll see when you print this out at the top, we are calling ourselves the Hilltop School of Witchcraft, so it has an email address as well. So students are welcome to get in contact with us for any reason through that email address. If you have any questions, either in the comments below, or if they're long, in-depth, or of a personal nature, you can email the school direct. End of lesson. So, I think that's all for this week. If you've enjoyed this video, give us a big thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell next to the subscribe button, so hopefully YouTube will notify you of when we post videos, but don't guarantee it. Oh, and go across and have a look at our Patreon page, which there is also a link to in the description below. You can join our Patreon page just because you want to support the channel, which is basically just a $1 contribution every month, and that supports our channel and it gives you early access to the Wiccan lesson videos. If you go to $2 as a Patreon, then not only do you have access, early access to the videos, but it qualifies you to take the end of year final exam, but you have to have been $2 Patreon for 12 months before you can sit that exam. If you go to a $5 Patreon, then you are able to sit a mid-year exam as well. But again, with that one, you have to be a $5 member for 6 months or more before you can sit mid-year exams. And the exciting part is that all Patreons $2 and above that have qualified, once you qualify, we will be setting up a Facebook group that is a private Facebook group, and it will be for graduates of the Hilltop School of Witchcraft, and it's somewhere that you will always be able to go to share your experiences, make friends with other Wiccans, and get advice, as I say, share what you've done, and obviously over the years, because we will be re-releasing these videos every year, so it'll give you, every year there'll be more and more people join, so you'll have a whole network of people to interact with. So that is all from Hilltop School of Witchcraft and Hilltop Farm. Until next time, it's goodbye from Hilltop Farm. See ya!